Hello traders, welcome to my weekly Ichimoku wrap. I'm doing this video on the major FX pairs this week. It is Saturday, October 24th, and this video is for the week ending on Friday, October 23rd. So, starting off with the euro, we see that the euro met with a bunch of selling last week. I will zoom in from the big picture to a closer view. So we see that in Ichimoku perfection, the week before last, this candle that we can see under the cursor here, and I'll move the cursor out of the way, put in a big topping tail and ended up closing underneath the Tenkan-sen, although it did close inside the cloud, so it was technically neutral in Ichimoku terms on the weekly time frame. We see that last week's candle opened and moved above the Tenkan-sen briefly. I think it would be better to get even a little bit closer. It moved over the Tenkan-sen briefly. You can see that wick there, and then it just proceeded to sell. It lost the support of the Kijun-sen underneath and also the cloud, which were confluent at the same level at this 126.3. Let's see exactly. That was one at the 1126, 112.60 level, and proceeded to continue selling. The fundamental driver behind this, of course, being the Mario Draghi ECB speech that essentially said QE forever. So the euro got slammed, the dollar ripped. So what do we have for us in the future with regards to the euro? When and if should one attempt to buy the dip? Well, currently we don't have any support in Ichimoku terms. Price action is bearish and under the cloud. So some potential signs we can look for as far as what to look for support is we can look at horizontal levels, price areas where price reversed multiple times in the past. We do have a horizontal level down here where we can see this bottoming tail was put in and this bullish candle back on August 10th, put in after some choppy, very choppy, after this top was put in, this downtrend, very choppy price action came up. But so we're looking at the 1096 area, but horizontal support is not necessarily particularly worthwhile, and I'm not going to go back and look. I mean, if I was really looking for levels that I wanted to trade on the weekly time frame, I'd go back further to see other areas of horizontal support, but we're going to stick with just real basics here. So as I said, we have this area where we've seen prior support around the 1096 area, but also we have this red line over here, the Chikou. The Chikou represents price, for those of you who don't know. Chikou represents price action time shifted 26 periods into the past. If this happens to be the first time you're looking at one of my videos or the first time you're watching an Ichimoku chart video, Ichimoku is pretty simple. It might look complicated to start, but there are really not that many elements. One of them is this red line here on my charts. It happens to be red, called the Chikou span, spelled Chikou. I pronounced it Chikou for years and only recently started pronouncing it correctly, and maybe not even perfectly. But the Chikou interacts with elements 26 periods into the past, so 26 weeks into the past. So it's interacting with the April 20th candle right now. And next week, when the new candle opens, we'll be interacting with the April 27th candle. But we see that the Chikou could come down and find support at the Tenkan-sen right here around 109.26, although the Tenkan-sen next week is lower, and it's down at 108.66. So if it's possible that the Chikou could come down and find support in this general area when the new candles open, or since this is a very bullish solid candle, the Chikou might run into it and bounce upwards. So that's just one potential scenario where the Chikou could find support and therefore help current price find support. I think that's not particularly likely. I think it's, after looking at other charts, I think it's likely that the euro will continue to sell for a bit. We do have this nice support area potentially down here at around 108.23 or 108.2. Let's call it 108.15, 108.20, something like that. That looks like a pretty good horizontal level. You see multiple touches of that level, and it was previously resistance back in April, and then became support and continued to be support and has been support. So that's more of a likelihood for a potential reversal area, in my opinion. But we can only guess until something actually occurs that makes us think that there could be a reversal, and then the reversal needs to be confirmed. So for now, the euro is bearish in Ichimoku terms and is not oversold or overbought, sort of in the middle as far as RSI goes. So let's move on to the cable. Pardon my drawings from the past. Cable is currently neutral in Ichimoku terms as price action is inside the cloud. You see that we have, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. You'll see that we have a bear cross happening right now in Ichimoku. You're going to be learning a lot of Ichimoku if you don't know anything about it right now. A bear cross is when the Kijun-sen, which is the pink line, crosses over the Tenkan-sen. And that's what happened last week after this selling occurred, after price could not get over the Tenkan-sen. Tenkan-sen is currently at 15462, and it is acting as resistance at the moment. We did have a pre-existing uptrend after putting in this potential reversal, which was confirmed down here on 9/28, this doji candle. After this downtrend and this very bearish candle, we've been an uptrend, and then we put in these topping tails and an inside candle, which so we need a lower high and a lower low to actually confirm that there is a reversal to the downside. It's possible that cable could find support at the bottom of the cloud, which would be around, next week will be around 1516, 1517, something like that. If we do hit the bottom of the cloud next week, the Chikou over here will come into the support of these candles, so we could get a bounce slightly higher. We could actually lose the cloud slightly and then get a bounce if the Chikou does manage to hold the support of these candles. But for now, cable is neutral inside the cloud. If we are to go higher, which would surprise me, we do have the 15462 level to act as resistance, and then above that we have the Kijun-sen at 15508 to also act as resistance. Then there will be resistance all the way. We have this horizontal level where cable was just moving sideways for a long time before faking out to the upside and then selling off around, that's around in the 1564, 1565 area. So we can look at that as potential resistance area if we do go higher. We also have this potential resistance area you can see from these candles, which then became support briefly for this candle around 15742. And then we have resistance, of course, at the top of the cloud, but I really don't think that we're going to put in a bull run to the top of the cloud next week on cable. Seems very unlikely. Let's move on to the Aussie. The Aussie, looking very much like a bear flag. We'll go back to the big picture. I mean, pretty bearish. So zooming back in, Aussie bear flagging down here. There are some bullish aspects to this in that we're currently still in an uptrend. This very bullish candle on the first week of October blasted right through the Tenkan-sen here after other times was not able to. We did put a close over the Tenkan-sen, then that was like summarily rejected the next week. Put in this potential reversal candle, and then had this very bullish reversal to the upside. But that reversal is being faded at the 17. Let's call it 174 level, not quite 17. Let's call it 1735 level. That level is being faded. Let's see where the top was here at 173.75. Well, so currently, we do have a downtrend because we have the last week's candle putting in a lower high and a lower low, but we might find support on the Aussie at 17143, which is the Tenkan-sen. The Tenkan-sen actually could open lower when the new candle opens up. So wherever the Tenkan-sen opens up will act as support unless it is lost. Well, overall, this chart is bearish. And if we do, for some reason, reverse and move higher, we will have resistance at the Kijun-sen up here at 17534. Let's look at the Kiwi. Kiwi also in a very similar situation to the Aussie, bear flagging, and then actually broke over and closed over the Tenkan-sen. Kiwi is a little bit more bullish than the Aussie, as the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen are both flat, and price action is currently trading in a narrowing range. This is last week's candle is an inside candle to the prior week, so still in an uptrend, but price range is becoming more narrow and is pretty much equidistant from the Kijun-sen to the upside and the Tenkan-sen to the downside. Whenever the Kijun-sen is above the Tenkan-sen, it is technically bear cross. That happened quite a while ago. Let's look back and see where that happened. That happened here. So in 2014, in September of 2014, so we've been bear crossed ever since, and bearish ever since. Although we made this slight trip above both of those indicators back in April. But so as far as levels, but for that the Kiwi will trade in this range between 656 and 6985. We could draw fibs between the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen. That's like a technique that I like to use. I'll just show you how to do that for fun while we're in here. So I like to start up here, cast my fib down here, and I'll have to zoom in so we can see the actual levels. There we go. So we can see the Kijun-sen up here. So we see that actually this candle closed at exactly the 61.8, or pretty close to exactly the 61.8 of the distance between the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen. And now we're currently right around the 50. We're like, just as I said, equidistant. We're exactly splitting the 50% between the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen. So we can potentially look at some other levels that we could go to in between here using fibs. That's just a technique that I like to use. I thought I would share with you. Oops, bear with me. I'm going AWOL here. But overall, the Kiwi is bearish in Ichimoku Charts. If we do get above the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen starts pointing upward, we can talk about potentially higher prices, but not till now. And look, if we go lower, look for the 6561 level to hold. Let's move along to, let's look at dollar yen. Since these pairs that I'm going over now have the dollar first, they're bullish as compared to the ones that have the dollar second. So we see that the dollar, because of the dollar ripping last week, the dollar yen pair, the yen is weaker than the dollar, and The dollar took a nice bounce off the Tenkan-sen. Let me zoom in so you can see how nice that was. The Tenkan-sen last week was at 119.07. The bottom of this candle was at 119.13. So just barely above the Tenkan-sen. The price action bounced and ripped up over the Kijun-sen and put in a close over the Kijun-sen. Kijun-sen being at 120.99.4. So currently, this configuration is quite bullish. We are in an uptrend after reversing with this big bottoming tail the week before, last week. But overall, the only thing that's not completely bullish about this chart is the Tenkan-sen is still bear crossed under the Kijun-sen. So if we do go higher from here and follow the rising cloud also, we can expect that eventually the Tenkan-sen will try to curl up and perhaps try to cross back over the Kijun-sen for a fully bullish chart. The configuration of the cloud is important as far as the fact that it will be providing rising support as we move sideways in time. Like this is the beginning of November. The second week in November, the cloud rises steeply until the end of December, and then sort of tapers off a little bit through the end of the year, and then continues to rise. So as long as price manages to hold the contour of the cloud, it's gonna go higher. Which, if you believe in correlations anymore, would be bullish for the equity market. Let's go to the dollar CAD. Canadian elections were last week. I'm not going to say anything about that. So we see that dollar CAD put in a reversal candle right in the middle of between the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen, and put in a very bullish move higher, and actually put in a close above the Tenkan-sen. So even though the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen are flat, that's pretty bullish that we put in the close above there. So if we do move higher, we can look at this obvious resistance level at 1339 for potential resistance again. We are kind of extended above the cloud. We were previously overbought until we had this swoop down here, which took us out of the overbought territory, and we're curling up back towards overbought on this new bullish candle. So this is the first FX chart that we've gone over where the RSI was in any kind of extreme situation. The cloud is pretty flat below. You can tell the shape of the cloud, but it is rising into the future. So keep that in mind, that price action often follows the contour of the cloud. Let's look at dollar Swissy, and that will be my last FX chart. Dollar Swissy is nutty. So currently, the Ichimoku charts sometimes can be pretty wacky when we get really extreme price movements. They sort of take a little bit of time to recover, but oftentimes are still accurate in the meantime. So we have a very bullish bounce off the Kijun-sen as we came into the cloud last week and found support at the Kijun-sen, and then closed between the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen, 2 weeks ago. And then last week we again tested the Kijun-sen. I'm not sure. Let's see if we actually test the Kijun-sen. It's at 19486, and the low was at 09486. The low was at 09493. So just a few ticks underneath, and then we took off to the upside. So we're currently right in a horizontal resistance zone. If we do break higher above this horizontal resistance zone, and if the Swiss National Bank doesn't do anything nutty, I did hear some rumors on Friday that they could do something nutty, but they were just rumors, so don't listen to me. We could retest this horizontal resistance area up here around 10076, 10080, something like that. Then we could also go higher and test this other horizontal resistance level, 10149. The Chikou currently did sort of looked like it was trying to find resistance at the Tenkan-sen, but it did put in a close over the Tenkan-sen. So overall, full-on bullish in Ichimoku terms. Now let's look at the shape of the cloud in the future. Not bullish. I mean, the cloud is lower in the future, so that is a bit of a worry compared to you know what we looked at on the other charts. We saw for a bullish chart, we saw a nice bullish cloud. This is not a nice bullish cloud, as it continues. The contour of it goes lower in the future. We have this dip coming up right at the end of the year where the cloud is extremely thin and offers very little support to price. So if we do continue to move sideways, there is a danger right at the end of the year, right around January 1st, that price action could indeed test and fall through the cloud at that twist area up here, or this little dip in the cloud. It's not technically a twist because the cloud ahead is the same color as this cloud. And that is going to do it for my FX Ichimoku chart wrap up. If you're interested in learning more about Ichimoku charts, please check out my website at CloudChartist.com. I do currently have a special going for the rest of the month, $99 a month. You can lock in that special rate if you want to try out my chat room. There's no commitment. You can cancel anytime, but basically you pay for the first month. So and then you can cancel anytime after that and only pay for the month that you paid for. But if you do cancel and then decide to come back, you're not going to be able to get the same promotional rate that I'm currently offering right now, which is $99 a month. My regular price for the room is $149. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and check out my website at CloudChartist.com if you're interested in taking advantage of that special rate. And good luck trading this week, and hopefully, and also feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you'd like to be notified whenever I post new videos. Okay, thank you very much for watching my video.